Today I'm going to be talking about something that a few of you will probably rightly think I'm not too qualified to talk about, and that is going to be full-time Betfair trading. It is something that longer term I'm going to want to get into myself, and obviously you'll see on YouTube all the time you've got quite a few full-time traders who are actually on YouTube as well. But my issue here is, or the topic I'm going to be discussing today in this video, is what it takes to do trading full-time, how much of a rough bankroll you'll need to do it, how much time it's going to take to get there, and some tips and tricks that'll help you out along the way. Now, I know it may not seem that I am the right person to talk about this because I do not trade full-time. I'm a student. I'm probably going to go into full-time employment after my university degree, and then hopefully after that, maybe one day I might become full-time. But at the moment, I barely trade part-time. I'm still just using small stakes, so it might not seem like I'm the right person to talk about this with, but when it comes down to it, I've probably done more research than the majority of people when it looks into trading full-time, and that's why at the moment I know I'm not ready for it. But I know what it takes to do it full-time. I know what you're going to need to get there, how much money you're going to probably require. I know quite a lot of that stuff because that is what I'm aiming towards, so hopefully I'll still be able to give you some helpful insights in this video. But if you are new to the channel and don't know what this is, essentially on this channel I test out different ways of making money online. You'll constantly see on YouTube people promising you thousands of pounds just to do this simple thing every day, and the majority of the time it's a load of rubbish. So I thought, instead of having someone telling you that this works and telling you to go do this and make money, I thought it would be good to have someone who just tries out all that stuff. So that's what I try to do on this channel. Not so much recently, as my university degrees got really hard towards the end, but in the next few months I'm definitely going to be trying out some longer term strategies that everyone says will make you money. I'm going to try dropshipping again. I'm going to try loads of new websites that promise to give you tons of money, and we'll see if they actually work. So if it sounds like something you're going to look forward to, please do be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And if you're just someone who likes football or trading or Sorare or anything like that, hit the subscribe button because we've got all that covered as well. But let me get into this topic about trading full-time. So the key thing I'd probably say if you want to trade full-time is to just learn trading. I don't mean go out there and start doing trades with a couple £100,000 worth of stake, couple £100 worth of stake, or even £1,000 worth of stake. Don't do that. Learn the strategies. Don't pay for courses. There's no need to do that. The amount of free stuff that is out there at the moment, just learn everything, the most basic you can, and then slowly transition your way up and learn things a bit more advanced. But when it comes down to it, just try trading yourself with a few minimal strategies. Don't try it with huge stakes. Go in with what you can afford. Maybe at most £10 when you're first starting out. The smallest stake you can have on Betfair is £2, and I'd probably recommend, if you're just starting out, just go in with that £2 stake. There is not much risk there. You'll probably be okay even if you lose the whole stake, but the way you can use that and analyse how well you're doing with your trades is treat that as if it was £100. Go into your trades with £2 and treat it as if it's £100, and then that's where it's going to link into this next step, which is to keep track of your trades. Even if you're just starting out and just want to see what would happen if you put £2 there and adjust the market, wait for it to change. If you just want to see the reaction and see what happens, keep track of it all because it'll be really helpful. I've kept track, as you can see here, of every single trade I've ever done. The ones in red are the ones that I made a loss on, the ones in green I made a profit. And you'll see sometimes here I lost 63%, 70%, 73%, 100% there. But I've also made 80%, 64%. And it's quite handy to keep track of, because the one key thing to keep note of when you're starting early days is don't worry about a high stake or a high return or anything like that. Look at your percentage return, because that's where it's going to be key. That's where you'll know, okay, so if I maybe do this strategy longer term with a bigger stake, I might get some better rewards. Maybe if I do this strategy, it's not working as well. Go in with a really small stake until you feel confident. At the moment, the biggest stake I've used, if we just look at this, biggest stake I used was £140, and that was when I laid every draw on Betfair, which is something I'd never recommend. It was just for a little weird video I did. Apart from that, I've done £90, 65, a few 50s, a few 40s, a few 30s, But the majority of the time, as you can see down here, is £10 and below, because I'm still just trying to get around, learn the market, learn how it reacts, and learn everything like that. So I definitely recommend, if you're just completely new to Betfair trading, get a spreadsheet built up, or if you don't want to build one yourself, I've literally got this one available for download over on my website on the spreadsheet section. It's not going to be there on this video here as I load this up. We've just got my money tracker there at the moment, but by the time this video comes out, that spreadsheet will be up on here. So if you just want to use this spreadsheet, by all means go ahead. All you need to type in is the date. The deposit column is definitely just going to be getting removed, so don't worry about that, but you just need to put in the date, the game you're trading, or the horse race, or the tennis, anything like that. Put in what method you're using, or just put some notes in there if it's not a method and you're just watching the market. Put in your stake, your profit and loss, and then it's going to automatically do all the rest of the stuff over here for you. So just keep track of all your trades, because it will be handy to come back in the future, look at where you went wrong, look at the strategies that might have worked, that you've forgotten about, and just to be able to keep note of how things are going for yourself. And then, to be honest, you probably don't need to think about the rest of the stuff I'm going to talk about in this video until you're consistently returning a profit. Until you're consistently looking back, maybe even if you just filter the date over here by certain months. So if we go over here to my first ever month, we'll deselect everything, go all the way to March 2021. You can see I actually made a £17 return, a return of 153%. Now, I don't know how I managed that, because it definitely didn't feel like that at the time, even with 100% loss in there. But clearly I was doing a bit more high risk, getting a little bit of good reward. But you want to be returning a consistent rate of return. So maybe not like this. I don't know why it's like that for the first month. I don't quite know how I managed that, but if we just keep looking, you'll see the next month on there in April, I still made a nice little return, only 20%, but not too bad. And you can keep going down in this list. So then we've got May, where I still made a bit of profit, but you can see here, this is where it's key. Yes, I made a profit there, but overall I actually made a loss percentage-wise because of the different variations in stakes and the actual percentage return per trade. So you can see for that month I made a loss. That's not a good sign. That is clearly showing there that that month wasn't good, obviously, but you need to really be returning a good return. As you can see, this month here I didn't even do any trading. Basically I did 2 trades, lost 94%. But when it comes to trading, you want your whole portfolio first of all to probably be positive in terms of the percent return down here. If not, then you want your most recent months to all be consistently returning that profit and that high return rate. If it is not positive, if even with your £2 stakes you're losing money, it's not going to suddenly change when you start using high stakes. The amount you're losing at £2 is just going to be the same percentage as the amount you'd lose when you put in £100 if you're not changing anything about it. So just get consistent, then worry about transitioning over into full time. So once you're fully consistent, maybe you've got 6-7 months full of trades, not just a month where you did 2 to 3 trades. If you've got 6 to 7 months of consistent massive amounts of trades a month, then you can start to think about pushing on to full time. Maybe start initially by boosting it up a little bit, because who knows, when you move that £2 stake to a £50-60 stake, maybe your returns aren't as big because you're a bit more worried about the possible loss you might come in, so you might get out of your trades a bit earlier. There's going to be adjustments like that happen as you change your stake. So maybe slowly start to scale up your stake as you go, as you start to be consistent. Maybe after 2 months of a consistent return, you look to go from £2 to £10 or £10 to £50 and slowly increment that as you go. And then after, again, a few more months of just being consistent and getting your returns in, then you can start to think about the next steps of trading full time. And if you want to be trading full time, there's some key things to note. First of all, you're going to want a backup, and that is the sole purpose of why I'm going to be having a full-time job next year as I come out of university, to save money and have a backup fund. You're going to want a couple months worth of income just saved up, just so you don't have to worry about if it suddenly just goes completely kaput. If after the first month of trading full-time you realise it's not for you, it's too stressful, you don't want to do it, you're not making the returns you expected, and you don't think you're going to be able to adjust that, then at least you've got that backup of funds to be able to live off while you possibly look for another option as a job. And that is a key thing to have. You're going to want the backup, even if you're fully confident you're going to become a brilliant full-time trader. You need that backup, even if it's just as a little emergency fund, because when it comes to getting a mortgage, looking at renting a property, looking at getting yourself a car, things like that, the individuals who are going to look at your income, they're not going to be overwhelmed by what's going on. They're going to class you as someone who's either just unemployed or someone who's trading. Both are extremely volatile and not favourable when you're looking at getting money. So having that savings is going to really help you in them scenarios. So make sure you can afford to become full-time. Full-time might get you a lot of money if you become really successful with it, but you need that backup there when you start, because the majority of people who try to do this full-time aren't successful. I don't think I'm going to be successful at the moment, which is why I'm putting it off, but hopefully in a few years, if you follow along on the channel as well, you'll hopefully see me transition into that full-time trader. There's no shortcut. If you're brand new to trading and don't even know what it is, there is probably no chance of you, unless you're incredibly lucky, there's no chance you're going to be able to go off and in 2 months be full-time trader, bringing in a consistent huge amount of money and having a big salary. It's just not likely. If you take shortcuts, it's going to hurt you in the long run. So just honestly stick to the long game. Start learning the market. Start tracking your trades. Go in with that £2, £5, £10. Keep going up and up. And then when you're suddenly seeing that consistency come in and seeing that big amount of income coming in through your returns as well, then you're going to be able to look at becoming a full-time trader. And if you can't accurately reflect how you trade with that £2, if you can't go into your trade with that £2 thinking that it is the £100 stake you might be using or the £500 stake you might be using, then trading probably isn't for you, because the main aspect of Betfair trading is self-control. You need to be able to use Betfair as a trading platform, not as a betting platform. And that can be something incredibly hard to do when you first start out. You might think, oh, I'll just keep this under 2.5 trade going because I know these don't score late on. Everything says they don't score late on, as there's already been 2 goals. At certain points, you're going to just be using it as a bet instead of a trade, which is why small stakes until you're consistent, until you're in the right mindset, and then you can start looking scaling things up. If you look at all my trading history here, we've got 107 trades overall, which isn't a lot considering these do literally range all the way from March last year up to the 19th of February for this year. It's not a huge amount of bets at all. I've done £1,795 worth of trades. That is only from me ever using very slow and very little amounts of trade, I should say, so it's not too bad. I'm actually going to remove this every Prem game laying the draw just for the purpose of this video, because that one there, it wasn't something I do normally. That was just purely me doing something for a video. And there's also actually going to be a lot of these trades that were just fully me using that for a video. It was just me learning a trade, seeing if it works, seeing what happens. So this probably isn't an accurate reflection for my trades as to how it would be, which is exactly why when I blank out this template for you to go and use as a Betfair trading guide and to be able to keep track of your profits, I'm also going to make myself a new spreadsheet, one where I only track my personal trades. So yes, when it comes around to it on videos, when I show my earnings, I'll include everything I've done on Betfair, but for me personally, I want a separate spreadsheet that is just going to show my personal trades, because like I said, quite a lot of these trades here were me just testing it out for a video, and obviously there's some of them which I would never have used, such as this laying the draw, and I'm actually going to put on here every game just so that I can come up to the methods up here and get rid of that one from this selection, which is going to hopefully showcase a little bit of a better return. So you can see over my 106 I've done over the past year, I've had about a 50% return, which is quite a good return. It's better than I expected it to be, but again you can see here it's not actually a 50% return for the amount I've staked to the amount I've got back. It's just in general with all these, if I'd used the same stake for every bet or every trade, it would have been a 50% return. And at this point, I am still not comfortable going in trading full time. Despite the fact I've averaged a 50% return, I'm still not comfortable doing it. I want to see some more consistent results. So if you don't feel comfortable, even if you've got consistent results for the past few months and everything points in the direction of being able to do full-time trading, if you're not comfortable, then you don't need to do it. Don't rush into something you think you might regret. Just always make sure you're comfortable with the next step before you get to it. Don't force yourself to do things. But I'm just going to add that trade back in just to show that my actual return has been a 12% return over the past year. So if we're working with that 12% return, someone who wants to trade full time is probably going to be wanting a £25,000 salary. Now you don't have to worry about tax in this scenario because according to the government, Betfair is gambling. And of course it is. So you do not need to worry about tax for this scenario. Obviously, if you are wanting to do this full time, definitely speak to financial advisors first, just in case that has either changed by the time this video comes out or in case I've got it wrong. It could be either of them, so just make sure you double check before you get into it. You don't want an angry tax man on your door. But with the basis of there not being tax for it, if you wanted a £25,000 salary for this yearly, you're going to want a return of about £480 a week. So the volume you'd need to actually be trading to get that amount would be around about £4,000 total trade a week. That can either just be one £4,000 trade where you're getting a 12% return and then all of a sudden you've got your money for the week, or it could be an accumulation of trades that are averaging the 12% return but your total trade volume is at that £4,000. Obviously that is a huge amount of money there, and it's going to really impact everything that you do when it comes to Betfair trading. But that is hopefully just going to highlight to you there that to do this full time and to only make around about an average salary there of 25,000, you need a huge bankroll to be able to get going. Which is why, yet again, start trading with a small amount and just see what you can do. Now over the course of the next few weeks, I'm going to hopefully be showing you some more Betfair strategies. I'm looking at a few now that they might look like they might be okay. And I've actually started to transition away from, when it comes to a Betfair strategy that I think looks okay, I used to just try it with my own money and see what happens. That's not what I do anymore. At the moment what I do is I keep track of the odds on a spreadsheet myself and then just see what happens. If you're someone who genuinely doesn't want to get into Betfair trading with an actual amount of money yourself, you don't need to. You can still use Betfair and keep an eye on the odds and see how it would have changed if you put money in. You don't actually need to risk your own capital if you're not ready for that step yet either. You can get in with nothing. But ultimately the steps if you want to become a full-time Betfair trader are quite simple. Keep track of your results, which is the most important one. Even when you're full-time doing it, just keep track of your results. If you've not kept track of your results before, don't worry, you can actually just come over to Betfair itself, go to your account up here, go to your betting profit and loss, and then you can just go for last 3 months, or you can do a custom date and get the profit and loss and download the spreadsheet. You don't need to worry about doing anything else. Now you can see here, my actual total profit and loss for the last 3 months is minus 53. That isn't necessarily true because there's quite a lot of Betfair trading in this. There's quite a lot of match betting in this as well. So obviously that wouldn't link up. If you're someone who does a lot of match betting but wants to use this Betfair tracker over here, maybe you can do your match betting over on a site such as Smarkets and then keep your Betfair trading on Betfair. Might be a bit easier to keep track yourself there if you don't want to use a spreadsheet. But the steps are really simple. Keep track of your results. Wait until you're consistent and make sure you're really consistent. You're not just, oh, I've made 5% for the past 3 months, let's just get into this and make this full time. Wait until you're truly consistent with good returns. Don't force anything. Don't force this if you're not good at it. Don't end up doing something you're going to regret. Don't force you to move on to doing it full time if you're not ready. Don't up your stakes if you're not ready. Upping your stakes isn't going to magically make you better at trading. Make sure you're consistent at any point with your stakes before you even look to up them. And I'd say a big step here, obviously, is mainly self-control. That's the biggest one you can get with Betfair Trading Full-Time. But the one I'd probably say and emphasize over all of it is don't be afraid to take a step back. If you're suddenly hitting a really bad patch, or you've started to really get annoyed with trading and it's just not going well, don't be afraid to lower your stake back down to a different price. Don't be afraid to go back and re-watch some videos on strategies. Don't be afraid to just take a step back. It's better to take one step back now rather than 10-15 steps back in a few weeks time. Over the course of the next few weeks on this channel, I'm going to be keeping track of our Betfair trades. I'm going to be doing a full week where we only use £10 and see what return we get there. We'll do a full week where we use £100, and I want to see how it contrasts with the £10. I want to see how much more cautious I am when it comes to a big stake that would actually matter to me at the moment compared to a stake where I don't actually mind if I lose it. So that one I think is going to be quite an interesting video to see. We've also got some tennis trading strategies coming up very soon. I also am starting to learn some more horse racing strategies just because over the course of the summer months there's not going to be no football, so I want to be able to keep track of my actual Betfair trading habits. As you saw earlier in the video, for the summer month periods last year, I just did no trading, which wasn't good for me at all, especially if this is something I want to do full time. So I just want to try and get some variety into my strategies, so hopefully you enjoy them. If you've got any more questions, or if you do Betfair trading for full time and have any more tips and tricks you can give, put them in the comments, because even if no one else cares, I definitely do, because it's something I want to do when I finish uni and have a bit of savings saved up. So it will be really good to hear if you've got any tips of your own. But you got any recommendations for videos I can do, strategies I can try out, websites I can use, anything like that, let me know down in the comments. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.